The Meiji Restoration, Japan's leap into modernity. Imagine a nation sealed off from the world for over 2 centuries. Suddenly, in a single generation, it becomes a modern industrial power capable of rivaling the West. This isn't science fiction, it's the story of Japan between 1868 and 1912. A transformation so rapid and profound that historians call it the Meiji Restoration. In this video, we'll uncover how a teenage emperor, bold reformers, and an ambitious vision turned a feudal society into a modern empire. Japan in the mid-1800s was ruled by the Tokugawa shogunate, a feudal military government that had enforced over 200 years of isolation under the policy of sakoku. Foreign trade was tightly restricted, society rigidly hierarchical, and the emperor held little real power. But in 1853, U.S. Commodore Matthew Perry arrived with his black ships, demanding Japan open its ports to Western trade. The shogunate, militarily outmatched, signed treaties it could not enforce. This exposed the regime's weakness and unleashed domestic unrest. Samurai, peasants, and intellectuals criticized the shogun for capitulating. Movements like Sono-joi, revere the emperor, expel the barbarians, gained traction. The young emperor, Mutsuhito, would soon become a rallying symbol. In 1868, the Tokugawa shogunate collapsed during the Boshin War, a civil conflict between shogunal forces and imperial loyalists. Victorious reformers declared the restoration of imperial power under Emperor Meiji. One of their first acts was issuing the Charter Oath of 1868. It promised deliberative assemblies, an end to rigid class barriers, and the pursuit of knowledge worldwide. This document set the ideological foundation for Japan's modernization. The emperor, once a ceremonial figure, was recast as the living embodiment of the nation. Authority was centralized in his name, though real power rested with reformist leaders from powerful clans like Satsuma and Choshu. To modernize, the new government had to dismantle the feudal order. Between 1868 and 1871, it abolished the Han system of domains, replacing them with centrally governed prefectures. The samurai class lost their stipends and exclusive privileges. Many resisted, but Japan was transitioning from a warrior aristocracy to a merit-based bureaucracy. Some former samurai became bureaucrats, teachers, or officers in the new military. Others resisted, leading to uprisings later in the 1870s. The old class divisions of samurai, farmers, artisans, and merchants gave way to a more flexible social order. This cleared the path for nationwide reforms. The Restoration's leaders knew Japan needed to defend itself. In 1873, they introduced universal conscription. Every male, regardless of class, had to serve in the new national army. Samurai privilege was gone. Western technology flooded in. Railways, telegraphs, shipyards, and factories sprang up across the country. Japan purchased Western weapons and ships while rapidly building its own industries. Within decades, Japanese ironclads patrolled its coasts. The military wasn't just about defense, it was about legitimacy. By adopting modern armies and navies, Japan demanded recognition as an equal to Western powers. The Restoration's leaders knew Japan needed to defend itself. In 1873, they introduced universal conscription. Every male, regardless of class, had to serve in the new national army. Samurai privilege was gone. Western technology flooded in. Railways, telegraphs, shipyards, and factories sprang up across the country. Japan purchased Western weapons and ships while rapidly building its own industries. Within decades, Japanese ironclads patrolled its coasts. The military wasn't just about defense, it was about legitimacy. By adopting modern armies and navies, Japan demanded recognition as an equal to Western powers. Japan's leaders were determined not to be colonized like China or India. They renegotiated unequal treaties, sent missions abroad, like the Iwakura mission of 1871-73, to study Western institutions, and selectively imported foreign experts. Japan didn't just copy the West, it adapted foreign models to Japanese traditions. This fusion created a uniquely Japanese form of modernity. Not everyone accepted rapid change. Former samurai, stripped of privilege, staged revolts. The most famous was the Satsuma Rebellion of 1877, led by Saigo Takamori, remembered as the Last Samurai. Though crushed, these uprisings hardened the Meiji state. They proved its new military could defeat even seasoned warriors, cementing central authority. By Emperor Meiji's death in 1912, Japan had transformed. It possessed railways, a constitution, an industrial economy, and a modern military. It would soon defeat China in 1895 and Russia in 1905, shocking the world. The Meiji Restoration turned Japan into the first non-Western nation to industrialize successfully. But it also set Japan on a path toward empire and militarism, legacies that would shape the 20th century. The Meiji Restoration was more than a political change. It was a social revolution, a cultural reawakening, and an industrial sprint. In less than 50 years, Japan leapt centuries ahead. Survival is at stake.